Hi everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm Vic Cundiff and I'll be your host for the show. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to help support the show by becoming a premium member, please go to dogmanencounters.com/podcast to sign up. Memberships are only $2.99 a month. By becoming a premium member, you'll be able to download episodes onto your mobile device and listen to them commercial-free wherever you go. Also, if you'd like to check out the new Dogman Encounters t-shirt store, please go to dogmanencounters.com/store and take a look around. Buying a t-shirt or sweatshirt there is another great way to help support the show. As always, thanks for listening. Alright, let's bring on tonight's guest. If you listened to episodes 185 and 187, you'll remember tonight's guest, Beth. Well, since we did those two shows, Beth has had other encounters, and that's what she's here to talk about tonight. Beth, thanks for coming back.
Hey, Vic, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. Beth, for the people who missed those two shows, please tell them about yourself.
Well, I'm a mom of two teenagers, 17 and 19 respectively. I am a teacher by trade and originally from California, and I live here in beautiful Pennsylvania currently.
From talking with you as many times as I have, it's obvious that you've carved out a really nice life for yourself. I just feel so bad for you having to deal with all these Dogman encounters. What a shame.
Yeah, it sure is.
Since you've had so many encounters with Dogmen, how would you describe them to someone who doesn't know a thing about them?
Oh gosh, that's a good one, Vic. I'd say probably what a wolf would look like standing up, but instead of paws and claws on the front, it would have hands instead with claws on the end, and would have hocks like a dog, maybe a tail or maybe not, and would be pretty tall, maybe even muscular or thin, about 7 feet, thereabouts, and they can walk as well as run on 4 legs.
Since you've had as many encounters as you've had, have you noticed much in the way of a variance in how the different Dogmen appeared?
Yes, I have. I've seen 3 different kinds. Absolutely.
They do have different looks. A lot of people who are into Dogmen, for some reason, they think they all look the same, but yeah, as you know, they definitely don't. What would you say is the creepiest thing that Dogmen do?
The creepiest thing? I'd say the way they apparently can go into trees and on roofs and things just never occurred to me until I listened to Dogman Encounters Radio that they actually do that. That actually is super creepy. That and the fact that they're just so stealth and fast.
The fact that we as humans don't tend to look up makes their tendency to seek out elevated positions even more unnerving. I can understand why you'd be so creeped out by that. Do you think it's dumb luck that you've had so many encounters and walked away from them without so much as a scratch, or more to do with their lack of a desire to hurt you?
I've thought about that, Vic, and I think that they probably don't consider me a threat for some reason, because I guess, to put it bluntly, I do as I'm told. I acknowledge they're the apex predator. My daughter did that first time when she heard a growl in the laundry and had the wherewithal to even believe that. Okay, you're the apex predator. I'm nothing. Leave me alone. And that's kind of my attitude, too. I have no desire to do anything to them, or even try to, unless they were, trying to hurt me or my family. But they haven't done that.
Yeah, thank goodness. All right, Beth, a lot's happened since you were on the show last. Please tell us about your recent encounters. Give us every last detail that comes to mind.
Okay, well, the first one occurred actually at 1 a.m. after that show that we did, February 16th, happened, which was very interesting because it just felt like a creepy night anyway after the show happened, and my daughter and I decided we were going to go to Sheetz. We have the Sheetz out of here, the Sheetz, at about 1 a.m. and do a little midnight run. A couple of night owls that we are. So we get in the car, and we're driving down the hill, which is just a little short drive, And by the time we get to what the bridges in town, which crosses the river, the Clarion River is what it is, saw something dart behind the bridge just before you get to the hardware store. And bear in mind it's cold, 21 degrees Fahrenheit, and we thought it was odd that somebody was skulking about. And the thing we noticed, it was really tall and thin looking. And, okay, we looked at each other and we just kept driving through town. It seemed spooky as all heck that night anyway. But there was this lingering musky smell in the air that we could not discern. And we were talking about that by the time we got to Sheets, which is maybe, a 5-minute drive with a couple of lights in town and whatnot. She stayed in the vehicle, nice and locked up, I might add, while I went in for the snacks. And when I came out, right away, I noticed there was something going on her face. She was just like blank. Look on her face, I'm like, what's going on? She said she saw something really tall standing in a nearby field with a vacant lot to the left of the sheet. And it seemed to have yellow or gold eye shine. It was really tall, furry. And as soon as she looked at it, it turned around and ran toward the creek, or I guess it's actually the river, where I was about to turn. And she's like, really vehement thing, do not drive there. Please, Mom, do not drive there. I'm like, okay, I'll turn around, go back, out of the parking lot the other way. Very disturbed about it. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Driving slowly through the town, I'm like, what's going on? She goes, I have a feeling this is not over. And I'm like, I remember her saying that, and I'm thinking, okay, what do you mean by that? She says, I'm just keeping vigilant. We approached the hardware store, and we saw what looked kind of like a statue of something tall, hairy with ears, kind of like a tall wolf or maybe even a werewolf. And it was standing next to these other statues that are outside the store that they sell. Because we have like chainsaw carving events here and stuff like that. And all the stores have them out. If the people happen to be artists, they'll sell their stuff. Well, this thing, it started moving along the building. And the statues did not move along the building. And we're watching it. We drove faster. It ran around the building, and just as we approached the bridge, it ran down the embankment on the opposite side of the bridge. We drove 2 blocks to where you turn right to get to our house, which is 8 houses up on the left-hand side of the hill. She told me, okay, that wasn't the only thing I saw. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, earlier, she saw something moving in the cemetery as we drove off. And she was scared and asked to coordinate going into our house together because she was nervous about what she had seen. The tall and black thing running through the cemetery. She didn't see any discernible markings like ears, tail, that sort of thing. But she figured it was probably something like we had seen at the hardware store. And I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just remembering how scary it was. Because she was scared. And I just remember, oh my gosh, she's scared now. So, we did remember there was no deer out that night and very quiet. As I speak with you, there are crickets chirping, and I'm like as happy as a clam because I do not like when it goes quiet. And that was one of those nights where it went silent as a grave. Even the dogs in the neighborhood were quiet. Not a bark, not a whimper, nothing. So it kind of felt like maybe 1, 2, or more were out in force that night. And when we got inside, boy, we told my son about it, and he's like, man, why do I miss everything? Now that was funny. But I'll tell you, it was pretty unnerving. Really unnerving. So, the next time was what I call the howling night. It was May 27th on a Sunday, 2 days before the full moon, close to midnight. It was very foggy out in the distance, and it was kind of encroaching the town. It looked like we were going to be enveloped in the fog soon, so we wanted to hurry. Go to Sheets again. Always do our Sheets run late. We just, I guess we're gluttons for punishment because we get to the car, and she notices it first. She goes, hey, do you hear that? And I had the window rolled down. It was pretty warm for midnight, and we heard this strange howl. She had heard one before. I'm like, oh. And it sounded very similar, Vic, to the one with Dave in episode 184, only a higher pitch. And I know my pitches. I've been singing most of my life. I remember it sounded higher than that because I said, wow, that reminds me of one that I've heard before. We heard about 3 howls. It was very quiet, but to the dogs in the neighborhood who were whining and barking, and then they became quiet after like about a couple of howls. And I mean, I've heard coyotes before. I've heard wolves. This wasn't that. And it was really intimidating sounding, to tell you the truth. It made us think maybe we shouldn't go out. But we were hungry, we were thirsty. We decided we're not going to be intimidated. It sounded like it was maybe on the ridge, on one of the bridges actually, because we're surrounded by ridges. One of the bridges, pretty far away. It would take it probably about, well, who knows how fast Dogmen travel, but it couldn't take it more than 5 or 10 minutes, I'm thinking, unless it was leaping and bounding. I don't know. But we went, oh God. We went to sheep, and we felt like we were being followed all the way. We kept looking around. Downtown is very dark. Not anybody out. Very quiet. Again, we get there, and the river behind Sheep was really quiet too, as it was on that night in February. And we're just like, okay, maybe they're out again. It's really quiet. We got our stuff, went out, didn't have any experiences. Just, it was like a feeling of menace outside. I guess that's what it felt like. Kind of menacing. Like, we couldn't get back in the house sooner than we could. Quicker. It was very quiet when we got home. I noticed there were no more howls, but we felt the need to just head inside ASAP or else kind of thing. And I didn't like that at all. Neither did she. We were just sitting there, again, talking to my son about it. He's like, you guys are really upset about this. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why when you joked about saying, why do I miss everything? You don't want to miss this. He's heard things outside his window. We've heard things hitting the house a couple times before. Nothing like that has happened since I talked to you last. But the feeling that something was out there and wanted us back in the house away from what they were wanting to do. That's what it felt like. So, the next one, this is the one that really was scary for me, Vic, because seeing what we saw so close, not as close as the first time, which is, I think a year anniversary here, but I was inside a car during that time, but this time it was not. Neither were my kids. So, okay. We hadn't gone camping yet. It was only June 11th. I mean, school had let out the 1st or something like that. So I was really excited about going camping again with my kids at this place. This place that I booked for us is about an hour and a half from where we live. And we'd never been there before. And it looked like a really great place to go. One of the camping experiences I like is being around other people, especially knowing what's in the woods. I thought it would be a really good idea to go ahead and rent this cabin for 4 nights. And I couldn't believe my luck when I could book it from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and check out on Friday. I'm like, wow, that's like unheard of. Something must just canceled. How lucky are we, right? So we get ready, we go down there. This is actually 2 days before the new moon, so it had nothing to do with the full moon. I just want you to know. We drove there and got there about 4:20 p.m. What do I remember 4:20? I have no idea. But I look at my watch whenever we get to places. It's one of those things, I guess. And we pulled into the park, paid for the cabin with my credit card, went down into the park, and the moment we went into the park and drove down this tiny little hill, I noticed something. It was really empty. I'm like, oh, okay, 4 o'clock in the Monday, well, maybe people aren't coming in till later on. That was the first thing I noticed. Then we drive down, it must have been maybe a quarter of a mile from the ranger station where you pay your park fee and stuff. We make a right into this little area that crosses a bridge, which is over a creek, and there's this little grove, kind of like a hollowed out area, it's in a circle, kind of like a clock. And we drove in there, and it felt kind of spooky, or kind of sick. The atmosphere was sick. There were birds on one side of the camp circle, tweeting away, but there was nothing on the other side, which was weird. And my daughter sensed something there that she didn't tell me about till later, but she sensed two figures there. What I mean by sense is she felt like we were being watched and looked, and it's like two figures, which looked canine, crossed in front of the grill about, maybe 300 feet away in the 2 o'clock position of the camp circle, and dark brown fur, not black like the one I saw, had tails, longish snouts and ears, larger than normal head, and this is what I saw too later on, but I didn't see it at first. She just kind of sensed it and told me, and I couldn't believe what she said. About 7 to 8 feet tall. She also noticed she picked up on something in the 11 o'clock position. If you're looking out at the campsite, that was between the second cabin that was on the left, and our cabin was on the left too. Okay? So, I sensed something in the creek at about the 7 o'clock position, laying low in the creek between our book cabin, and I didn't see anything yet, and I never saw anything until later on. But it was really unnerving. I'm thinking, okay, are there wild animals here? What's the deal? Well, Brianna and I decided we'll leave Arthur and our dog, Harley, in the cabin. Really nice cabin. Family cabin, had a loft, a couple of bunk beds, kitchenette area, really nice. The only thing I didn't like, you had to go to the Biffy up the hill instead of a regular bathroom, so I'm like, okay. I guess I could deal with that, but my kids were like, are you sure? That was like, okay. Well, Brianna and I go, and we're going to pick up some supplies, and Arthur's just going to wait there with the dog, Harley. And he had brought his computer, because he's a computer kind of guy, and wanted to work on some songs, because he writes dance music, does it for people who want people who want dance music. So that's what he decided to do, is bring his headset, although he didn't have his headset on at first. He was doing his music thing while we went to the grocery store on a grocery run. So we go to the grocery store, and Brianna's asking me, are you sure you want to stay here 4 nights? Just point blank, no feeling whatsoever, just point blank. Like, are you sure you want to stay here 4 nights? I'm like, well, that was the plan. Why? And I was a little nervous about it. She said, well, it doesn't feel right. I'm like, okay. I think that maybe we're being watched. I'm like, okay. And she wouldn't really expand upon it. I said, well, there's animals in the woods. Maybe there's people. Who knows? Maybe some kids are being crazy. Who knows, right? Well, mind you, Vic, there was nobody there. Absolutely nobody. We drove out to get those groceries and saw nobody coming in. And I'm thinking, that was kind of weird. You know, because by the time we went to pick groceries, it was about 5:15-ish. And we got the groceries and came back, and we were there about, maybe it took us a half an hour, I think, maybe 6 o'clock at the very latest, I'm thinking. And right away, Arthur was sitting outside with the dog. I'm like, what's going on? And he says he heard something walking around the cabin on the outside. I'm like, okay. And he says, clearly was something out the window. He looked out the window. He's not afraid of anything. He didn't see anything. He thought maybe he'd heard deer or something. Nothing. Nothing at all. And I started unloading the groceries, and I'm thinking as I'm unloading the groceries with the kids, I don't know, this is feeling kind of weird. It really is feeling kind of weird. I don't know why, but it feels weird to be here, especially because I haven't seen anybody, and that's just weird. So I had forgotten a couple of things and said, oh darn, I gotta go on a second run. Brianne's like, I'll go with you. I said, Arthur, you want to stay? He's like, yeah, I'll just stay with the dog. We're good. I'm okay. Now, mind you, the only weapon he had, and it sounds weird, but I found these cooking forks that have 2 prongs on them, like you put hot dogs and s'mores on. He had like 3 of those in the cabin with him. That was it. We had not packed. We had not brought a GPS or anything. Nothing that David Pilates or anybody suggests to be safe, but I thought we'd be around people. And we sure the heck weren't going to go outside the cabin at night, except for to go to the bathroom. And when I think about this leaving him, I mean, I can't believe I left him. But I'll tell you why in a bit here. We go on a second run, and we come back after getting stuff. And it took less than half an hour, so maybe it was about 6:45, no, between 6:30 and 7:45. He said he heard more walking outside. He peeked out the window. Nothing was there. He said it looked like maybe something was shimmering around outside the cabin. I said, what do you mean by shimmering? And he was like, something shimmered. Like it was moving, but it was hiding and moving. I'm like, okay, that was weird. We were unloading the rest of the stuff, and I'm getting increasingly nervous about this situation. And I'm thinking maybe this is not such a good idea. It was just really feeling sick. All I can explain it as sick, almost menacing again. The feeling of being watched was really strong, especially from that 2 o'clock position that Brianna had sensed something was there and saw something run across that grill. And I kept feeling there was something watching us from the creek, too. So, after just staying in the cabin, kind of taking it all in, I had a sudden urge to see who was around us camping. And I drove off in the car, leaving the kids with the dog in the cabin. There's nobody there. There's absolutely nobody in the entire campground but us. I drove all the way down to the dock. There were like 4 or 5 people fishing, but there was not one tent, one RV, nothing. That can't be a good sign, right? I know it was a Monday, but we're talking summertime. Unless people in Pennsylvania don't like to go camping on June 11th, I mean, I can't imagine why there was nobody there. But now I know why I got the cabin so quickly, because nobody had booked it. Nobody booked anything. And I was feeling increasingly anxious about the whole situation, because I'm like, okay, there's nobody camping but us. They're going to be gone to the camp store about a quarter mile away. Not a good sign. So I go back to the cabin. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the creepy feeling. Dean and I, Brianna, and I walked to where the showers and hopefully bathrooms were, but there were only showers and no bathrooms. We're like, okay, this is weird. We just have that biffy outhouse, and that's it. And I didn't like the idea of going out in the middle of the night and having to go there. And neither did my kids, for that matter. So, another thing, too, is Dean had seen a strange shadow in the playhouse above a slide next to the shower place, and she said it gave her a creepy feeling, too. And I said, well, what was it? She goes, I don't know. It was black, and it was like a shadow, but it moved. Okay, so we go back to the cabin, which is like a 5-minute walk from the showers, and Arthur said, hey, do you hear that? And it sounded like someone was in the camping circle pitching a tent, but no one was around. And it sounded like somebody was hitting tent poles. Not a person was there. We're like, what is that sound? Didn't want to find out. I'm thinking, you know what? I want to drive away one more time and just give myself the benefit of the doubt as to whether I should make an executive decision and get the heck out of here pretty soon before it gets really dark. I decided to go out and get some gas, which is 10 minutes away. Came back 20 minutes later. Brianna was with me. Arthur stayed with the dog. And Oh yeah, we did have bear spray, I remember. That was the only thing he had was bear spray and 3 2-pronged barbecue forks. We went to get gas. They stayed in the cabin. But while we were still in the car, once parked at the cabin, I asked her right away, my daughter, are you thinking what I'm thinking? A nod indicated. We walked directly to the cabin and started talking about how fun the party was going to be. Starting to be really happy and packing stuff up. I don't know why I felt the need to do that, Vic. It was weird. It's just, I didn't want to show any fear, I guess. Because it just felt like we were being encroached upon. And we start packing after double checking with Arthur that he felt the same way. He goes, yeah, we could be noping out of here pretty soon. I would be happy. So that's it. We started packing up. While we were doing so, I felt something looking at me from that 2 o'clock position. And I'm over in the 7 o'clock position. I look, and by God, 2 dark, familiar upright canine figures crossing in front of the captain's grill. Swift to move between the trees, I might add. But it was enough for me to notice their dark brown fur, the snouts, the ears, the tails, and the hands. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm thinking to myself, we have to get out of here. We have to. They do not want us here. I'm getting this feeling, that fear, again, comes to me. And I'm really trying not to lose it because my kids are there, my dog's there. We are so vulnerable. There's nobody there. And these things are right behind the grill, behind the trees. And they're just looking. And I'm thinking, please, don't let my kids see these things. And Harley, the dog, by the way, all this time had been really aggressive, yet quiet, pointing, sniffing in the air, didn't bark once. Laid down on the porch, didn't want to be moved from the porch. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with her? No, I knew what was wrong with her. She didn't want to deal with those things. She knew they were there. She knew it. And my son was in the car first because for some reason he likes my daughter and I to pack things a little bit more than he does. He likes to take the dog in there. Well, the dog would not get in there. I'm like, come on. You gotta go. Wouldn't go. Would not budge from that porch. I'm getting increasingly anxious. I'm thinking, those things are there. There's a registration desk, and that's it. And there's us. What if they get pissed off? What if they start to attack or something? Now, they've never attacked us before, but I mean, hey, there's the first time for everything, you know? And I'm just so worried at this point. I'm pulling the dog. I'm picking her up. I mean, she weighs 30 pounds, for God's sake. I'm just, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. I don't want to hang on to her leash because the leash is hanging onto her neck. I literally had to drag her to the car. And I kind of walked her because I kind of picked her up and you're going to love this. I picked her up and had her walk on her hind legs toward the car because she didn't want me to let go of her, but she was fine walking toward the car on the hind legs. And I thought, no, that's just freaking weird. But got in the car and stayed in the car and looked around. And my son was like, what's wrong with you? Gee, what's wrong with you? My daughter and I look at each other because we're at the back of the car. She had seen him this time again. And they were still there. And they were kind of hiding behind a couple of trees. I only had seen 2, but I had a feeling there were more than 2 because between our cabin and the other cabin, it felt like something was there. Behind that creek there was something. And I looked at the creek, and it looked like something was moving around the creek, and I couldn't tell what it was, but I had a feeling it was one of them. I just did. And we packed up without incident. We wheeled out of there as fast as that could be. I'm trying to show no fear. So are the kids. They could be like, are you okay? I'm like, we've got to get out of here, like we said, and I got to go to the park rangers and tell them what's going on. So, a quarter mile up the hill, out of the area. No incidents, nobody was following us, nothing was following us. I was noticeably shaking. I looked at my hands, Vic, and they were just like, oh my god. I was shaking. I was like, what am I going to tell these people? I kind of need my money back because I'm not staying here. And this is around 7 o'clock, 7:15. I think it was closer to 7:30. It was getting darker. So I go to the lady that's there, and she's standing there with this guy who works there too, and she's like, are you okay? I said, actually, no, we can't stay here. And she says, what happened? I said, well, we just saw something in the woods that was really scary, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but they look like tall, upright wolves, or maybe even werewolves. Well, I'll tell you, Vic, these people looked at each other like they knew. Not like, what? Is that lady crazy? No, nothing like that. Like, oh? Like, not surprised, just the exchange. Just shaking. I was just shaking. And the guy paused thoughtfully and said, that's okay, you can have your refund back then and there. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with a few friends tonight to see what the heck is out there that scared a nice lady and her kids away, because that's not making me happy at all. I'm like, dude, you have to be really careful, because these beings are real. Have you lived in this area at all? And he's like, yeah, I've been a hunter all my life and all that. I'm like, well, have you heard strange things in the woods before? He said, yeah, they're definitely out there. I'm thinking, what do you mean by they? I didn't ask him to expand upon them, but I told him, you know what? There's a show called Dogman Encounters Radio, and they were listening to me. I said, go Google it, and you know what I'm talking about, but please, for God's sake, be careful. If you think you're going to hunt these things, you could be very wrong about doing that. Very. Because once you hear some people's experiences, experienced hunters like yourself have not gone into the woods to hunt anymore because of these things. And I had no idea that it was going to be here. I thought there were going to be more people around, but when there wasn't, I didn't feel very comfortable. And then there they are. And we didn't know if they were going to maybe attack us or what. But they were not surprised, Vic. They weren't surprised. I'm thinking, we dodged a bullet because there was nobody there. If we had decided to stay, which would probably been the stupidest mistake of my life, and my kids and I talked about it too, I mean, they said, Mom, something was going to happen if we stayed. My daughter especially was very vehement about this. And I said, you're right. I feel that too. We get out of there, we go to our favorite Motel 6 in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from the place, and stay there for a couple of nights. And my kids are like, I don't think I want to go camping again. I'm like, honey, I am so sorry. I thought we were just going to have 4 nights together, and then this. You know, I didn't count on it. It scared the crap out of not only me, but my kids, too. And my dog. I'm like, gee, Vic, they're everywhere. It doesn't matter. They're everywhere. That being said, the next time we saw one was Thursday, July 26th at 7:10 p.m. This was 2 nights before the full moon, which I noted, but it was really bright outside. Really bright. It had clouds in the sky. It had rained on and off that day. It was after 7 o'clock. And we were heading towards a place called Dubois, which is about 40 minutes away from us. And this time we're going on a bird seeing run. And we're approaching this hill that leads to this little town. And a deer passes in front of the car. We're going about 35 miles an hour. And a deer passes in front of the car about, maybe 500 yards away, maybe 3. I'm not really good with yards, but I noticed it went across the street. My son looked at me and said, Mom, that was a deer. I said, I know. And that's when I saw an upright canine on the side of the road, enough to see its light gray with white and gray streaked fur, with canine ears, snout, yellowish eyes, bushy tail, raccoon-like hands before it dropped to all fours and went very quickly across the road. My son did not see it, but my daughter did. And I noticed it stood in a little area that was cut out of the road, like a half-moon shape, like one of those little places you could pull up. It's weird because it's like on the side of a hill. My son, again, had seen the deer and looked at me and said, "What's going on?" Just before I could say, "Did you see that?" it had already gone across the street. And I looked at my rearview mirror and I saw somebody behind me who had eyes as wide could be. So I think maybe that person had seen it too. I'm like, oh my God, that was probably a young Dogman. Because it sure the heck wasn't Wile E. Coyote. I mean, I'm not on meds. Just let everybody know. It shook us up because we had hit a deer earlier last winter on $2,500 in damage later. I don't want to hit another deer. So my son was like very hyper vigilant about that. But he'd not seen what chased after it. My daughter and I did. So I was shocked and reeling. I got, you know what? I got to call Vic and tell him about it. This is weird. Just right in the daylight. And nobody had come down the hill on the other side that would hit it, but I don't think they could have anyway because it went so fast. It was just like, boom. Just from a standing position to boom on the fours and across that road. But it saw me, and I saw it before my car could hit it. Not like I was really slowing down that much, because I don't think I was paying attention. I think I was slowing down, because that deer had come across, and I thought maybe another deer is going to come, but that I did not expect to see that. I expected maybe another deer or two, because there were like 2 deer that went in front of us at one time, but not the dog, maybe. So, anyway, that was weird, because that was in full-out daylight. I mean, it was bright daylight when we were camping, but we were in trees. So it was like, a little darker. But it was really bright when we saw it just then. So, wow. Okay. So, let's see, the day after you and I spoke, I think that was about February 9th or something like that, my stepfather had a weird encounter with something large, coyote-like, and ran on all fours, but first he noticed it eating this dead cat that he had found under their house. He had found this dead cat under their house, my mom and his, and it looked like it had died trying to give birth or something, which was kind of gross to think about it. Poor thing. So they started smelling something, and he found it up in one of the apartments under the floor. They live in a mobile home. Well, there was something up inside the house that this cat had made its way up to, and it was dead. So he took the cat out and put it out in the yard, and he was going to bury it the next day. Well, he gets up in the morning, and he sees this thing squatting over the cat, and he said it was dog-like, especially with the hocks, because it stood up. This is a man who works the ranges near Area 51. He has super top secret clearance. Seen a lot of weird things in the desert, but this really took the cake, according to what he said. This thing growled at him. He went, okay, I'm out of here. This is in the morning, about 5 o'clock, really dark in the desert, and he had seen it out where the light was, out and back, what they call the back 40. He goes to his car and drives to work. Comes back after work and sees that the whole cat, it was missing its skin, but there was still some meat on the bone, which was weird. And he didn't know what the heck that was all about, but he thought it was weird. He buried it, and he said he came out the next morning. The cat was unburied. He didn't see the being that time, but it was unburied, and all of its meat was gone. So something unburied it and ate it. And he's pretty sure that it looked like a dog with hocks, ears, snout, fur, and he was growling at it. That morning before. But he told me that kind of reminded him when he was growing up on a farm in Vermont. He had a lot of experience with animals. He and his brothers and friends could not explain sometimes. One night, we had a camping trip near the woods one summer. We heard a bunch of noise like something or someone was screaming. When they crept out of their tent, out in the field next to, I think, a forest, and we see something about 200 yards away. Looks like a misshapen bear or dog, or somehow distorted. He didn't really suggest werewolves or dogs so much as misshapen and looked distorted. And it walked like it was shaking a little. God, that just gives me chills when I think about that. Because that's kind of like the one that I saw, the first one out here. It looked like it's shaking almost, or just strange walk. Anyway, the boys ran like a pack back to the farmhouse. They chased him all the way to the back porch, and they could hear it scream and howl all night till dawn. And I think the parents were gone. It scared the tar out of them. They never camped on the property again. Only in campgrounds where people camped. He never walked in the woods alone. Never at night again. He lives in the desert. It's pretty creepy out there at night, I'll tell you what. My kids and I will attest to that. You don't want to be out in the desert at night. It's just weird. But just walking back and forth between your parents' house, it's pretty creepy. And you feel like you're being watched sometimes. So I like to think to my kids and make noises just in case. But one of my friends in the area, he lives directly across the other house on my parents' property. They have like 2.5 acres, and they have a house on one side and a house on the other that we fixed up for us whenever we stay with them. And he told me about one night about a being that was up in a tree above his driveway. It's one of those setups where the trees are bowed over the driveway to look a certain way, like kind of like a row, like almost a tunnel somehow. He was driving home late one night and drove through the tree-covered driveway. Happened to look up and see something standing in a tree. His window was down and it growled at him like a dog would. He split his windows up, headed as fast as he could into a small little mobile home, and he was fearful that whatever it was might try to come into his place, so he kept vigilant all night, slept in for most of the day, tried telling his family and the family that rented his trailer about what happened. They kind of laughed him off, but the husband who rented to him took him aside and told him, look, something's been killing chickens and ducks that live in the pens on his and other people's properties lately. They thought it was maybe a mountain lion. And my friend said, yeah, what mountain lion stands in trees and looks like it's something standing in a tree? I don't know. Do they? I have no idea. But he was very, very afraid. And the man agreed it might be something else altogether. They now have floodlights and trip lights, cameras just in case something comes around again. And so do my parents, for that matter. They got floodlights and some cameras just in case something comes around. So, oh my. One experience is kind of like a short, kind of funny one. Was not funny for her because my best friend is a singer and was doing a photo shoot in the 1980s. No, maybe it was actually more the 1990s, early 1990s. She was out in Sedona and posing on these rocks, because Sedona, Arizona has some beautiful rocks that you can sit on and pose on and stuff. She's sitting there getting pictures taken of her. Something catches her eye. She sees a tree not too far away. It was some kind of pine tree, but it was big enough for something to hide behind. She felt like something was hiding behind it. So, yeah, okay, something's hiding behind the pine tree. Maybe somebody found out that she was doing a photo shoot and thought it was cool. Well, she noticed movement again. She looked to the right, and she saw something that looked like a dog standing up. She described it as a German Shepherd, because I got the details from her recently. She said it looked like a German Shepherd, but a lot furrier, and it was watching her very intently. Not like it wanted to eat her or anything, but it was watching her for like a couple of seconds, and she gasped. And when she gasped, she said it kind of went back, like, oh. Because she went like this, and it kind of backed up, and then it ran around the tree, peeked out one more time, and then headed out. And she said to the photographer, I said, do you see that? And it was running away as she was pointing to the bright sunshine, Arizona. And the photographer said, see what? He didn't see anything. But she saw the dust that it kicked up when it was running. She couldn't believe what she saw, she goes, dogs don't really run around on two legs. And it didn't drop down to all fours, I might add. Because I asked her, did it drop down to all fours and run away? She goes, no. It ran. Like a runner would run. I think she said it looked pretty muscular too for a dog, which she thought was weird. But it kind of freaked her out. She's more of a cat person, not of a dog person anyway. But, she thought it was weird. And she really didn't tell anybody about it because she thought, people are going to think I'm absolutely crazy. When I told her about your show, Vic, she's another one of your fans. She thought, wow, now I don't feel so crazy. I really don't. Because of what she saw, and she says, okay, I guess those are real. So she feels pretty good about it. The last one I have is this past Saturday, what is it, August 4th. Yeah. My daughter and 6 of her friends believe they had seen Dogmen in the area, up this hill in the town over from us, which is about a 10 to 15 minute drive. And our friends live up this really big, tall ridge. You go up and it's on this huge incline and it's just gorgeous when it flattens out. I mean, there's wooded area, there's lots of grass, there's even a couple of farms up there. And we went up there to just have a summer party with our friends. Summertime. Let's go have fun. Now, I was visiting with my daughter's best friend's mom while she, her best friend, and 6 other kids went walking down the road. I'm like, okay, where are they going? And my friend said, well, they're going to go to see the rocks. I'm like, rocks? She goes, yeah, there's this rock formation. Yeah, rocks as big as a house. I'm like, those aren't rocks. Those are mountains or hills or something. I don't know. But we were laughing about it. She goes, yeah, they like to go up there and sit on the rocks and you can see the whole valley, and I can't wait to go to this place if I ever get the nerve to someday. But, it's like a 5-minute walk to this trail, and then the trail itself is about 15 minutes to the rocks. So it's quite a big trail into the woods where these rocks are. And they say once you get to the rock formation, you see all these rocks that have a lot of frost wedging and all kinds of stuff that has happened to them weather-wise, and they're exposed. And you can go up and climb them and sit on them. And then there's this huge one that's bigger than maybe a block way in the middle of the forested area out there, but they decided not to do that because it's going to get dark soon. Well, they go to the rock, and they're sitting on the rock, and I'm visiting with this gal's mother, and I'm asking her, so, you seen any animals up here? And she's like, oh yeah, we have raccoons, we have squirrels, and she had made this big squirrel feeder out of pipes and wood where it would feed birds and squirrels depending on who was running along the lines of the pipes or something. It was really cool. Anyway, but they said squirrels there, birds, there's been some wild turkey, all this stuff. And then there's this bear. I'm like, a bear? And yeah, there's this bear that comes. He comes and eats the squirrel food. One night, seen it twice, it was bending one of the pipes with his hand. I'm like, hand? You mean paw, right? Yeah. Wait a second. I guess it looked like it was holding onto the pipe. It was moving it. I'm like, well, what did this bear look like? Well, it was kind of scruffy looking, to tell you the truth. It kind of looked thin. It had big ears for a bear. Maybe it had mange. It was in the middle of the night she saw it happen around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Twice she's seen this bear. And the second time it had bent this pole, which is metal. I don't know if bears that bend metal, but I'll tell you what, the way she described it almost sounded like a Dogman. And I don't know, maybe it was a bear that was just scraggly looking and had really tall ears, but who knows. Well, as she's telling me about this story, the kid's up there on the rock, and I'm thinking, it's going to get dark soon. They had left about 6 o'clock, and it was about 7. And, I texted her, and I happened to reach her on top of one of the rocks. She had really good cell reception. Great. And so I said, hey, we're going to leave pretty soon. Are you ready to go? She goes, yeah. And she was going to put Amber on. I'm like, okay, where are you guys? Amber's her best friend. I'm like, where are you guys located? She goes, it's a 5-minute walk. It's on the left-hand side of the road, and not too far from a power plant. I'm like, okay. I'll just meet you guys there at the trail. She goes, yeah, we'll be there in 5 to 10 minutes. Well, I'll tell you what, Vic. It wasn't 5 to 10 minutes that took them. It took them a good 25 minutes. So this is what happened, okay? The on the rocks, and about 5 minutes later, Brianna says, okay, we gotta get going. Because it's getting dark, and my mom wants to pick me up. They're like, okay, well, they're all being typical lazy teenagers. They want to linger before they go back to their parents. And she starts walking away from the rock. The moment she starts walking away from the rock, it was a pretty nice sounding forest, too, by the way. Crickets and birds and all kinds of stuff going on. Well, it got really quiet. And she said, I stopped and thought to myself, uh-oh, that isn't good. And she was not too far from the rocks, but far enough to where she was almost in the woods, away from the rocks, because the woods are surrounding these rocks. And she's like, I better go back to the rock. She's looking around the area, scanning to see if there's something around. And she saw a couple of figures hiding behind trees. Couldn't tell what they were, but they were figures, and they looked furry. She thinks, okay, I'm walking backwards. I'm not showing any fear. And I mean, this kid is strong. I'll tell you that, because if it was me, I probably would have lost it. I don't know. She walks backward to where the friends are. Their friends say, what's wrong? She goes, you hear anything? And they said, no. She says, yeah, you need to see what happens, because we can't leave until we can hear things again. And the people are okay, well, come on back up on the rocks and hang out with us, because we're safe up on these rocks. Nothing can get us. And they go, yeah, right. They only knew. So they waited another 10 minutes, and they still didn't hear anything. But they said, we got to get going, because the parents are going to get worried. They get off the rocks, and it's really quiet. And they're walking toward the woods, and Brianna was pointing out where she had seen a couple of figures. And they look, and right when they all look, they see these figures. Now this time, look, they were closer to the woods and closer to the figures, and there were probably 3 or 4 of them. I mean, when I think about it, I just want to freak, but I'm trying not to freak, because there were 7 teenagers. But they see 3 or 4 figures watching them from the trees, and they could only describe them as really tall, dog-looking things. I'm like, dog-looking things? You mean Dogmen? And Brianna knew what the Dogmen were, but her friends had never seen. And they were just like petrified. So Brianna said, you gotta keep walking and act natural. They're not gonna hurt us. I have a feeling. We're like, okay. And we walked. And they were gonna take pictures. She's like, no, don't do that. Don't do it. Because you wouldn't even get pictures anyway. It was too dark. It was getting dark. And God knows what they might do if you started taking pictures of it. You can't even see anything anyway. It's getting dark. Don't do it. Don't antagonize them. That's what she was saying. Well, so they're coming back. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there freaking out with my son going, where are they? Where the heck are they? Now, about the time that they had heard the woods go quiet, we did too. We were parked at the wrong end, actually, the wrong trail that we were supposed to be parked at. I'm like, uh-oh, I don't hear anything. And Arthur said to me, what does that mean? I'm like, remember we talked about the apex predators being around and everybody's quiet because they don't want to be eaten? Oh, okay. Well, I thought to myself, maybe I'm parking the wrong spot. So I went all the way down Bottom Hill and texted her again. I called her again. And she answered just as they got to the end of the trail. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't you answer my call? I must have called her 11 times. I must have texted probably more than that. Arthur texted. I texted her. Well, what happened when the signal went out once we were in the forest? I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. But these kids are looking around as they're coming out of the trail, and I'm like, so what's going on, guys? And they're like, well, something was watching us in the forest. And that's the only thing they could say, except for, wow, what the heck was that? They were just curious teenagers. They seemed a little rattled, but not as rattled as I would be, because they were curious more than anything. And Brianna didn't show any fear whatsoever, and told them, don't fear. It's nothing to be fearful of. Now that I know what has happened, a couple of them did feel very fearful. And she did too. but they decided not to do anything. They believe in live and let live. Now, most of the people in the party are hunters and had never seen anything like this before. So, it just bothers me that again, she was so close, but at the same time, it's a weird, comforting feeling to know that they weren't going to hurt him. They were just observing, or maybe just wanting him to go. For some reason, it doesn't rattle me like that camping experience does. Maybe it's because I was there. For some reason, I believe, I don't know, maybe it's because of their strong Native American blood, my kids are protected somehow. I don't know. I have Native American blood too, but I think it's big to drop. But I talked to the gal, the best friend today. Well, chatted with her anyway, real quick on Facebook, and I said, "Happy birthday, how you feeling?" And she says, "I'm pumped." I'm like, "Oh, 'cause you're 18, what's up?" "No, I saw something before I turned 18 that I don't think many people have seen." Because they did look at, I told all the kids, look up Dogman Encounters Radio. I think that's probably what you experienced. I was trying to be as calm as a cucumber as I could. Inside I was like boiling, like, oh my God. Really? Again. They're everywhere. Just freaking everywhere. And I don't know what the connection is, but there's a connection somehow, I think. I don't know. Maybe there is. I don't know.
At times it does seem like they're everywhere. You told me in the pre-interview that Brianna's friends have become obsessed with dogmen ever since they saw those dogmen that night. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, they're just so excited about it because, first of all, it's something they've never seen. Second of all, it's something other people have seen too, so they're not crazy. None of them are doing drugs or drinking either. And number three, who could not become obsessed? I became obsessed to the point where I had to walk away from it because I was becoming too obsessed with what I was reading about, and I had to walk away from the show just because I had to clear my mind. I just had to, but I'm finally all caught up and ready to subscribe finally. But yeah, they're just pumped and excited. And here's the thing. They don't want to go back and see them necessarily, but if they see them again, I don't think they're going to be afraid unless they feel threatened. Now, do I like the idea of them going out to the rocks again with those beings in the forest? Not really. But what are you going to do? Not go to the forest? Maybe. They didn't feel threatened at all. Not at all. Now, fear was there, but no threatening, no menace, nothing like that. Just curiosity. And it was mutual curiosity, too, because they were curious about them.
If they ever do have another encounter with them, I hope they don't throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, I think that as long as they are listening to what people are talking about on the show, they're going to learn a lot more than they bargained for. They're going to know it's not, oh, nice little forest creature. Stuff like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hope they don't think of them that way.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything positive that's come out of having all these encounters with them?
For me, it's that I am awake and aware that they're there. I probably haven't noticed them in the past because I'm usually so into just blocking everything out when I'm walking somewhere. Now I hear the nature sounds and stuff like that, but I mean, the moment I saw one out here, it just changed my life to where I'm not afraid that they're out there, but I fear them because they're the apex predator. But I think it's been a positive experience overall because, well, first of all, I'm not crazy, which I think I am half the time anyway. Other people have seen them. Other people have had way worse experiences, which that kind of makes me nervous. But that I haven't had experiences, it's not given me a false sense of security at all. But it is interesting and positive to know that so far they haven't hurt us. They haven't wanted to. I can't speak for other people and their experience because I'm telling you, I have heard some which have just rattled me from my socks on up. But I think it's interesting that there's other beings out there that we have not been exposed to it, but for our experiences.
I hope you never do lose sight of the fact that you've had all these experiences with them, and not once have they ever tried to hurt you. So, the next time you get really antsy and have a hard time dealing with it, I really hope you snap yourself back to reality and remember that fact. That's a very important one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that camping experience was so different for me because it was not something I really expected. And I think the fear of the unexpected is what gets me in most situations. I think it would be safe to say most people kind of deal with that fear of the unexpected. But, yeah, like you said, knowing that they haven't hurt us so far, so good.
Well, I hope that marks your last encounter with them, but unfortunately, I don't think that's how it's going to be.
No, I have a feeling along the road there's going to be more. I don't know if it's going to be here within the next 10 months, but we're moving to California to be closer to our family next year after my daughter graduates, and we're going to be closer to the coast, but there's the redwood forest there too, so who knows?
Yeah, well, like I told you before, they're out there too.
Yeah, I know. Oh.
Time will tell. Well, we're about out of time. I want to thank you so much for coming back on the show and telling us about all these experiences, Beth. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Vic. I was really hoping that I wouldn't have to tell you about any experiences. Certainly, you don't expect to have experiences. At least I don't. You know, I just kind of do my life and that's it. But, well, there they are.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that seem to be seeking you out, so there's not that much you can do about it. But just do the best you can to deal with these experiences.
Absolutely.
That's right. Well, thanks again so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Vic. You too.
Thanks. We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you.